Well, I'm from Indiana, where the cornfields grow, where the Hoosier pride runs deep and the rivers flow. From the small town streets to the city.
Hi there, my name's Larry Stoops, and we're in Sheridan, Indiana. Here recently, I just killed a monster buck off this property, and we're about ready to take you step by step on what happened on that very same day. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll take you along for the story. Well, we've been on this property now for about 13, 14 years. We've been renting it. We've been fortunate for that. I used to always have to go public land, you know, as everybody's familiar with. We've all been there, how discouraging that can be. And this place came upon us, and couldn't pass it up. It's 57 acres total. I hunt a small percentage of this property, to be honest with you. I don't hunt all of it. It's a lot for one person to hunt. And I don't make it out very often, so when I do make it out, it's a true honor, that's for sure. So the day everything happened, I got home from work around 3 o'clock. Sitting there at the back door next to my wife, I'm like, I need to get out and stand. Something tells me tonight, something's rolling tonight. She's like, oh, well, get out there, go. Get out there and go. So I debated for a few minutes, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to go. Something's telling me to get out there. So got upstairs, got my shower, got my gear, headed out. As I was heading out, really wasn't sure which stand to take. Either on this side or that side. At that time, the wind was coming up out of the east-southeast, so it was coming up this way. So I had a couple different stands I could go to, and something just kept telling me to take this corner stand over here on this northeast corner of this woods. So I batted it around my head. A lot of the action I had been seeing was actually coming from the south end of this back cornfield that's back here. That's where a lot of the activity had been. And at first I was going to take a stand down that way, but something kept telling me to come up to this stand. So I just went with my gut. Got up there to this, got to the stand. And it's about a 400-yard walk, as you'll see. It's a little walk back there. So getting there, the wind direction was great. It kept it from where they were being seen the most at this time. So I felt good about that part of it. But I was kind of bummed because I wouldn't be where everything was kind of happening at on that far end. But again, something in my gut told me, come to this side. You know, they always say, follow your gut. You know, that's what I did that day. And it paid off. So as we get back here, you'll see I'm only around that 10 to 12 foot mark on the tree. It was truly amazing what happened that day, that's for sure. But this is pretty much the basic walk I've done every time getting out to the stand. You can see I'm pretty concealed coming out, especially when it's still green, early bow season, which I typically only hunt deer with bow anyway. It's more of a challenge. It's more up close. I mean, just to get to see such a beautiful animal that God's put on this earth that close, instead of sitting 150 yards, 200 yards away to experience something like that. It's something truly amazing to get him that close, to see them in their true habitat. So this is kind of the start of the woods here. Again, it goes back this way a few hundred yards. An old family cemetery here. Some of the headstones in the cemetery is actually dated back to like early 1800s. So it's a family cemetery. So walking by this every morning was a little creepy, I'll be honest with you there. Coming out this year, there's a really nice scrape sitting right here. This is where it opens up into a huge cornfield or bean field, whichever year it is. So that day I just walked this route, probably around 3:30ish, 3:40 by the time I got to this spot here. Just walked around. There was another really nice scraper at this point right here. If you look back in the woods, it's hard to see right now, but there was a lot of rubs back in this area. So that was always something to kind of pay attention to. It's hard to see now that these two are kind of a popular little travel route. We just got some fresh snow last night, but you can see where they definitely walk down the edge of this field for sure. I've jumped so many deer in this area. In fact, there's a huge thicket in this area right here. I'm sitting just to the east of a huge thicket, and I think that's really something that helps a lot. I've seen a lot of deer in that area. Alright, so there's a huge thicket on this side. Typically you always see a lot of deer in this area. So at times I've really got to be careful with the wind and things to not blow my scent that way, because if I blow it that way, we all know we're getting busted. At that point, we may as well almost go home. So on that particular day, though, the wind was really light, coming up out of the east, southeast, so it's coming this way across the woods, and this field up in the back. So it's actually a perfect wind for that day for this entrance. This is where I went in at, right here. Got it all carved out. You could almost put a red carpet down through here. I had it so quiet. As you can see, they're walking this trail. So this right here is the area really that I was hunting most right here. This was the area that, for some reason, my gut just told me to keep coming, just come here on that particular day. Even though everything that was happening was on that far edge. So this is where I wound up at. This is the area. I'll take you to the tree. I do unfortunately have my stands taken down because of us having to be off the property by the end of January. So I done what my goal was to pull one last giant off this property. So once I did, I went ahead and just pulled everything off here because I'd done my deed. So let me take you back this way. Now as I walked around this year and walked these trails for one last time, knowing it was going to be my last time, I thought about all the times I brought kids out here, my wife out here, I had friends out here all the time. Right there, that was all the time I've had friends out here hunting with me. It's just really it's just really been a lot of memories here. Again, I've been very fortunate to have this in my backyard, just to be able to make that decision at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to head out to the woods and be able to make it by 4 o'clock. There's been a lot of deer taken in this little square area that we're here right now. I've taken a 166 off this spot right here. Now I've taken my biggest buck to date so far off right here. So I've shot numerous does here. I've let so much walk in this area too, just because they weren't big enough. After I got the property, I became more of a bone hunter instead of a meat hunter. And for holding off on those ones that should have been probably shot, got me to where I am today, that's for sure. Being patient and letting those little ones walk, even letting those bigger ones walk, people be like, my God, why'd you let that one walk? And it's just like, you just got to age a little more. And that's what you get when you let them walk a little more. So here we are. This is the tree I was at, actually. We're already here. As you can see, there's my bow hanger right there. You can see where my tree stand is blocked in on the side of the tree there for years. I've had this tree stand here for years. The bow hanger is, everything up there that you see is just grown into the tree. I couldn't get it out. So as you can see, we're probably, I'm 6'5", put it in perspective. So I've got to reach probably just over 8 foot total. As you can see, I'm not much more than that. I'm only 10 feet, 11 feet maybe. So to have a deer of that caliber walk in that close, which was just right there, was truly amazing to actually see. Here we are at the tree. Here we are at the tree that I was at. To give you kind of an idea of how close he really was. So as I got up on the up in my stand, once I got back here, it was roughly around 3:50, probably in the afternoon by the time I got up in my stand. Kind of got situated. It was probably around 3:50-ish. Sat there for a little while. Sat there probably almost a good 45 minutes. Really didn't see a lot, hear a lot. Of course, squirrels were everywhere, so I was just watching the squirrels. Had a little snack, just got off work, a little hungry. So I thought it was getting to be close to almost 5, and I had been seeing a lot of action going on in this back corner on this field that's right out here. On the south field down in the corner. So I thought, you know what? I'll go ahead and get things started a little early. Let's see what, I'll give out a couple calls. Just kind of get things rolling. So at this time it was almost 5, and I was sitting out there in the stand, and I reached into my pack, grabbed a bleed call. I was going to do a bleed call, then a grunt, and then do a rattle sequence there, and then see what I could get to come in, if anything. And I had no history whatsoever of this buck of any sort. I had seen some other ones, but not this guy. So I'm sitting there, and I was still seated. Really wasn't expecting nothing, hadn't heard nothing or anything, so I really wasn't expecting nothing. So as I was seated, facing away from over there, I gave 3 little bleed calls, and that's all it took. I heard a little shuffle behind me. As I'm sitting in this direction, I heard a little shuffle behind me. I went, gave him 3 calls. This was the last side I called to, and just as I was putting my call back down to my pack, I caught some movement out of the corner of my eye, and he was literally standing right there. I mean, right follow there. Me. Mind you, my tree's right there. When I first seen him, he was standing right here, but he was more positioned. Here to where I couldn't see the rat, because this tree right here was actually covering his head. So all I could see was from his shoulders back. So at that point, all that told me was that he was a big-bodied deer. I hadn't seen the rack yet, didn't even know he was even behind me. I hadn't heard nothing at all except that little shuffle at the end of those 3 bleed calls. So I was still seated. I was in the worst possible position to be at that time. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I got bad knees, so I'm a lot slower getting up, that's for sure. And as he started moving, he turned his head, and when he turned his head around, he was looking in my direction. At that point is when I seen the left side of him, and at that point, that's the side that has the 16-inch G2. And I just about went into cardiac arrest. You talk about buck fever kicking in. I hadn't felt that feeling in a long time, because that was the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life. At least putting, on the hoof through my eyes, that was the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life. I was like, oh my God, this is about ready to happen. So at that point, he was already starting to walk out from behind this tree, and there I am, right there, I'm literally 20 yards from him, and he stops right here. And he looks over, he looks in my direction, he kind of scans this whole entire area, and he's looking for that doe that he thought he had just heard. And my heart was just pounding out of my chest. Every emotion was going through me. I mean, if you could only imagine, I was going through so much because everything had almost came together. There was still that one important piece of putting him on the ground, and that was the most important. So at this point, you can see he's only 20 yards from me, and he's standing just dead like this, looking out this way, and he comes over this way, he starts milling around a little bit. You know, he keeps getting, and he actually gets super close to me. I was just like, and at this point here, with that wind coming from the east-southeast, he's about ready to walk straight through my scent trail if he hadn't already started hitting it. So I started getting really nervous about that. But at that point, all you can do is, you know, I know it's a huge topic, but you just got to rely on the clothing that you've got and your preparation and scent control. I know that can be a huge issue with some people, but luckily, you know, my clothes help cover everything. My scent wafers, our earth scent wafers, help cover what it needed to cover that day. He walked out this way a little more, kind of stopped right here, was looking around, and as you can see, we're 15 yards apart, and I just couldn't move. I mean, like again, I told you I was sitting down, I just couldn't move. He had me pinned right there. Any little movement at that point, he would have caught me, and my bow was still hanging in the tree right there on the hanger. At that point, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So he sat here for a little while looking around. I really couldn't do nothing, so I just sat there and just awed at him like, oh my God. And of course, it's a wonder he didn't hear me shaking, that's for sure, because I was up there shaking like a leaf. And I'm sure if you put some sort of device on that tree, you probably would have got some sort of shaking coming off that tree, some sort of, I was nervous at that time. So he kind of milled around, came back around this way. As he was coming through, he started walking around here. And at that point, he looked like he was just getting ready just to walk out of the woods. You know, he got up to this point here, and he was angling out this way here to walk down around. And you can actually see where other deer have taken this path already. Up to this point, he went out to walk down through here, it looked like, or he could have been over this and out that path. But at that point, I just had to make a decision of what I had to do. So I immediately just grabbed my bow. I knew from being out here recently, as we all do, I'm sure, we all start ranging certain areas. So that way we kind of know when that point in time comes, we kind of have an idea of where they're at on yardage and things like that. So luckily I had done that here. And I knew he was right around that 33 yard mark. As he walked here though, he got more to that 33. And again, I'm sitting literally right there in that tree, that biggest tree right there. So as you can see, I'm right around that 33 yard mark. And I thought, man, I can't let you leave this woods like this. You know, it was a hard quarter away shot. Luckily, I practiced that. I had practiced very little on sitting down and shooting, but this year I had practiced a little bit of sitting down and shooting, which in this case really paid off for this year. If I didn't practice that way, I don't know if I would have been able to make the shot that I made, that's for sure. It was something else. So at this point, he looked like he was getting to walk away. So I reached up there, grabbed my bow, got connected, and I'm sitting there literally. And as I kind of get situated, still sitting down, and I just pull back, and I put my 30 on. I get my 30 on him, bring it up just a tad bit off the front of the hind quarter, because I know where the shot that I got to make. I got to make a shot to where it's going to go up behind the back of the rib cage, across, and hopefully out that other shoulder, or just behind the other shoulder on the right side. So my shot was the shot to the left of him, behind the rib cage, across and into the right shoulder. So as I pulled back, got set, raised it just a tad, and just let it rip. And when I first let it go, the way he jumped out of here, I thought, oh my God, I just made the worst shot in my entire life on the most beautiful deer in my life. The most beautifulest deer I've ever seen, and probably a deer, it's definitely a deer of a lifetime. And I thought, my God, you know, I was sitting there, I was beating myself up. I'm like, why did I take it? I should have just waited. Maybe he would have gave me a different shot. But I sat there for a good 25 minutes at least, and I was just beating myself up. If I would have had 2 black eyes and a bloody nose, you could have seen me at that point. And I get down about 25 minutes later. It's about 5:25 and 5:30, and I get down, I start checking for blood, and I got my bow and everything. Get down, I get over here, I start looking around. I'm just like, man, I mean, you look really right here where I'm trying for this log. I started looking around, and I thought, man, that's actually some really good blood. Because when he first jumped out of here, it looked like I hit him in the hind quarter, but it was the way he jumped out. So at that point, I felt a little better. I thought, okay, it's maybe a little better shot than I thought it was going to be, you know. And at that point, all I done was I just started walking this route, walked over these logs here, came down through here, ran out this way here, around, came back up this way here, up this way, and the whole time there's a good blood trail going on, and I'm really starting to feel a lot better about the shot. We actually started taking the same path as I was on walking in. I just kept following the blood trail. Got up to here. The blood trail was still coming out. One of the things is he went out this way instead of out the path right here. He just kind of cut off to this side here and went that way into the field and went this way. So I just kept following the trail. And I started really feeling good. I started looking around. And at this point here, he had ran this way here. And right out here in the field, I'd seen a brown pile sitting there. And I really wasn't sure if that was the deer or not. They had just been out and they'd done some things in the field. So sometimes, you know how the corn husks will get all gathered up and it kind of makes this little ball out there and things. I thought maybe that might have been the situation. So I didn't let my emotions get to me. I just kept going. You know, I just kept following the trail. So as I followed the trail out, I get out here to the edge of this cornfield here. I'm walking down through here. And he just came through right here. So I pick up the trail right through here. And it's a good trail. It's a good blood trail. So I was really feeling good about the shot. So I was feeling a little better about things, that's for sure. Kept following. And I get to this point, and I kind of lose him for a little bit. And I'm like, why? Where did he go? So what had happened, he just got in a cluster of trees, and the blood trail started falling off of his edge here and just started going out this way. So, as he started doing that, I instantly just gave up on the blood trail and started walking to the brown pile that was sitting in the cornfield. Because all indications led to the blood going to that. So I forgot about the blood. I started walking this way. And course, as I was walking up on him, getting closer and closer to him, he was out here, and he was just getting a little bit bigger, getting a little bit bigger, getting a little bit bigger, and I was just like, oh my God. Heart's still beating out of my chest. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done here? What have I killed here, probably, you know? So we're walking out, and we get out here, and he's probably around, the point that I shot, he's probably at about 120 yards from where he dropped. And he was right around this area right here is about where I got him. I was finally seeing him about right here. He fell. I just got a line of trees where my stand was. I really lost what had happened. In the past, I've had many deer running through here, and sometimes, depending on the shot, they'll try to run over to that woods across this road over there. So I figured that's probably what he did. And I thought, well, I'll have another track job tonight, that's for sure. So as I got out there, though, see where he was at, what had happened, he kind of got in this little cluster right there, hit himself, and he literally just fell flat. He didn't fall to the side or nothing, so he must have been standing there. And when I walked up to him, he was perfectly on his belly, like he was laying there, just laid there. And so I think he just fell in that manner, and that's how he died. But when I walked up on him, and walked in front of him, and walked behind him, I was just like, oh my God. Why did I just shoot in Hamilton County? This don't happen in Hamilton County. Like, I'm not really sure what the state record is for the Hamilton County big buck. I'm sure I got to be knocking on the back door, that's for sure. At that point, I was just in awe about everything, and the wind up being the shot was perfect. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better shot. I mean, especially in the whole scenario of things. I mean, it's one thing when you're sitting there practicing that shot in your yard or wherever it might be, you know, at the range, whatever. Practicing your shots, but when you get a shot like that at a buck like that, and it's a hard quarter wave shot, boy, that shot is so much more difficult. Between adrenaline, buck fever kicking in on high gear, it just makes that shot so much harder. And I'm just thankful for the practice, because if it wasn't for the practice, he would not have been laying here, and I probably would have made a bad shot. I don't know if I would have even made that shot at that time. But I just felt confident, and I thought, you got to, it's a buck of a lifetime. I just let it rip, and this is what happened.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Great job, man. That's a phenomenal story. I mean, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
For Indiana deer hunting.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. It's been something else.
This is very cool. We hope everyone enjoys this. And Larry, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. It's been my pleasure. It's been great. I hope everybody enjoys it. The left G2 this one here is 16 inches. The G3 right here is 13 inches. This main beam is 26 inches on the main beam. This side here, the G2 is 14 3/4. This one drops down to, I think it was around 13. I got it on my sheet. The main beam on this guy here, on this side here, was 25 inches. He field dressed at 224 pounds. So we're guessing a weight on the hoof at probably around that 260 to 270 pounds maybe. I could be off. So on the back of his brow tine, he's a main beam 9. He's got these two little kickers here on the back of his left brow tine here. This one here is exactly an inch, so right now it counts as a point. Once the drying process is done, it's going to shrink. It's going to lessen 1 point. This is 1.5 inches, so once the drying process is done for this one, he'll still be able to probably keep that one, I'm sure. So he's really a 10, but a mainframe 9. I'm not sure about any of this other little stuff, how to get that any of this little stuff here counts. It's super cool brow tones. I believe it there. Close to 6.5, maybe, I don't know. But he's just a monster. He's got a big Roman head, looks like. Been blessed, that's for sure. There we are, guys. Tell you, it's just been hard over the years to let other things walk to get to this point, but sometimes when you let things walk, this is what happens in front of you sometimes and you just don't expect. And this was a super short hunt for me. I sat out there way longer than that and just had way less go on. But this one here just happened in probably less than an hour's time, so that just proves that when it's the rut, anytime you can get out there in that woods, whether it's an hour, hour and a half, even 45 minutes, you never know what's going to walk in front of you. You never know. This guy here did. And if I would have made that decision not to go out that day, he'd have never been sitting in here, right here in my hands, that's for sure.